good. Well, it's great to meet you. Thank you for taking a minute out today for the show. I appreciate it.
It's gonna be fun.
Yeah,
Hopefully.
absolutely. Yeah, no, I think it is. Absolutely. So I want to begin our conversation with surviving the going through this pandemic. We're going on the 4-year
Yeah,
anniversary.
I know all questions. I took notes. I
Okay.
wrote all answers. If I don't forget what I wrote, which is also possible,
Well, I may throw in some curveballs, but we'll begin with this here. Not bad ones. No, 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 no. It may take a little contemplation, but it's going to be good. It's going to add to the flavor
All
of it.
right. Okay. Well, yeah. Let's give it a go.
Yes, absolutely. So, again, we're going on the 4-year anniversary. How did you get through that time period, and how did it change you?
All right. So that's a very good question. Slightly different from what I expected, but in all fairness, it didn't change me, and I didn't notice it. So funny thing is, I was living in a different country. I was focused on writing my book, so quite secluded lifestyle, and I learned about the fact that we went into lockdown from my friend. 1 week later, after the lockdown started, because I have no TV, I have no radio, I have no idea what's going on in the world. Now I do, but that time I didn't. And I'm like, oh, really? And then I started, Googling, searching, and trying this information about Italy and the whole thing. And my Italian friend called me and she said, it's just in front of my eyes, all these coffins just, passing by. And only then I realized what's going on. But again, because I was really focused on what I was doing, and I'm very comfortable living by myself. I really enjoy, I love myself. Why don't you enjoy it?
Yeah.
So this is why I didn't really notice. The only change was is about wearing a mask, and it didn't bother me in the slightest.
So you're a strategist, but I want to get kind of the essence of exactly what you do on a daily basis. So it's career day, you're in front of a bunch of third graders, and one of the little ones is curious and says, "Hey, what do you do for a living?" How do
Do
you
you
answer
want?
that child?
Do you want to be my third grader?
Yeah, I will.
Yes. Okay. So sometimes it happens that you do things in life, and some things come easier than others. Do you enjoy when things are easy?
Yeah.
Well, you see, other people enjoy it too. So this is what I do. I help them make what they do easier and more enjoyable.
So what did you want to be when you were in the third grade? What was your dream?
You know what? I don't believe I wanted to be anything, anybody. I didn't think about it. So what I realized later, I guess more in my like teenage years, that I'm more into arts and I wouldn't want to do anything remotely related to math or science. So this is as far as it went. And this is
So
exactly the direction I took later.
so let me ask you this. Let's go back to the beginnings of where you were born and raised, and how did you evolve to this point where you are helping people and you're a strategist?
That actually was a long-winded journey, to be honest. It didn't happen overnight and I didn't think about it. What happened? I had to go through a deep transformation. Somebody calls it awakening. And it took me a good few years and it wasn't easy. So basically, what happens during this period, your identity, or easier to say, self concept, gets dissolved, and everything that shaped you in your own head, it's taken away from you. You're put in circumstances where you can't define yourself by what you thought is important. So that's what happened to me, for example. And when I emerged after this transformation process, I emerged as somebody called light worker. So it's like you become a different person, and your mission as of this moment is to serve others and to serve the planet. And for me, working with people who do good and do good is like the prerogative and the most important thing. And what I do, I change the way people think. So, that's
Yeah.
kind of in few words. And then at some point, because I was writing the book about a strategy, and honestly, I didn't know what I would do with the book because I didn't want to be an author. I had no idea who I can be because I just left the corporate world. it's really, you're a little bit lost for a moment.
Yeah.
And then I got this thought, it got downloaded. Sometimes you get information from nowhere, and this thought felt like home. It's like, I'm gonna be a coach. I had no idea where it came from. I never wanted to be a coach. I experienced only two coaches in my life. One was good, second one sucked. And so, but I felt so great. I called everybody, all my friends, saying, now I know what I'm going to do. So I knew I'm going to be a coach, but I didn't know what kind of coach, and I didn't have my philosophy because it had to be something that is truly authentic to who I am. So it took me around 1 year to combine, to merge the unmergeable. And there were so many things coming from all different directions,
Yeah.
and until I'm ready to present my philosophy to the world.
So as a writer, what was the first book? What was one of the early books in your life that really resounded with you and made you want to read more, made you curious, opened you up?
Oh, I started reading actually when I was 4 years old.
Wow.
And the first book that really captivated me, it's similar to what you guys have in English because I'm coming from not English environment. It's like
Yeah.
Wizard of Oz,
Uh-huh.
and we used to have like trilogy or 4 5 different books around this topic,
Yeah.
and this was the yeah were the first book that I read.
Okay. Well, and we were talking about music before we got on here. What was the first real concert that blew you away that you saw?
Oh, you know what? It's actually different because the first one is not what blew me away.
Right. Okay.
Right. So the first one that blew me away, actually, it was Vasco Rossi. It's an Italian rock singer in San Siro. It's just the ambiance of being in San Siro Stadium
Yeah.
that was totally incredible. And then there were a few other concerts that were absolutely amazing. So, like top for me were Nickelback, Linkin Park, and Muse.
Wow. Yeah, I saw Muse here in Kansas City, probably in like 05, 06. And I can't remember the lead singer's name, but he's just kind of a little
Mark
guy.
Bellamy, some
Yeah. Yeah. He just came out and it was just like a rock opera, like nothing else. There's
yeah.
hints in them that remind me of what Queen was doing. There's just this majesty with the strings and just the kind of the bravado. It's such good music. So,
Yeah, it's very impressive. When you go to the concert, in my opinion, you go for an experience.
uh-huh.
And when you kind of get immersed into the whole thing, all these people around you, and music and light, that is, and this is what these four concerts actually did to me.
Yeah. Yeah, it's magic. So, let me ask you this. In your life of being motivated and finding your way, who's been kind of a hero or a role model for you in that journey?
Um, it's a very good question. I wouldn't have a role model or hero because I'm a rebel. I don't accept authorities,
Yeah.
so they just don't exist in my life. But there are a few people that I admire deeply, and without giving names, because I don't know their names, but
Yeah.
there are people that overcome life challenges, and challenges like limited mobility, or severe illness or adverse circumstances. And people overcome them with sheer willpower and the strength of their spirit. And I saw so many examples, of people climbing mountains. I have a person that I used to know personally. The guy fell off the tree and he broke or damaged his spine. So, kind of, he became mobilized up to his neck. 2 years later, now he's standing. He still can't walk,
Mm.
right? But he can sit, he can move, he can stand on his proper feet.
Yeah.
I
Wow.
know what I know how he was working because he wanted to be a joy dispenser, so he became joy dispenser. Here you go.
Yeah.
But it's impossible not to admire such people because
Yeah.
we complain about everything that is insignificant. But do we really have rights to complain?
Right. Yeah. Third world problems. So let me ask you this. Is there anybody on the planet right now that's fascinating to you that you would love to meet?
Yeah, you know what? That's going to be a trivial answer. I'd love to meet Keanu Reeves.
Yeah, he's a cool cat.
And I'd love to meet him because from little I know about him, and I'm not into this celebrity scene, But little I know about him, he has few admirable qualities that resonate with me. And all I wanted to do is just to have deep conversation with him because I know he's a very private person. I would like to have a deep conversation with him to uncover his way of thinking.
Yeah.
It just
He is.
fascinated. It's curious how he can be who he is in the
Mhm.
situation that he's in.
Yeah. I think he's just a rare person that just happened to be a movie star. Like, there's just so much about him that's a regular person.
Yeah,
Um, you know who else? I haven't really thought about this a lot. I mean, there's some people I'd love to meet, Barack Obama, and there's other people that I would love to meet. But I think Jeff Goldblum would be a totally fascinating guy too.
yeah,
I mean, he just takes the carpet and just pulls it when you unexpectedly. It just,
yeah.
rearranges the way you think. And he's a jazz pianist too. I don't know if you knew that, but
No.
he's a bona fide jazz guy. He plays in LA all the time. He does duets. In fact, I just interviewed a director for a film about a guy, a bossa nova guy, um, and Jeff Goldblum narrates the film, and it's coming out soon.
Yeah, I
Um,
think we have similar tastes in people,
yeah,
because you know that Keanu Reeves, he's a rock musician.
yeah, uh-huh, yeah, 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 yeah,
Right. So for me, this fascination of being a deeply spiritual person, being in a way average in the very best way of, kind of really caring, not having inflated ego,
yeah,
right? Doing rock music. He does martial arts. I love martial arts and I love motorbikes. At the same time, he's good in what he's doing, but I think he's into Eastern philosophy. I wouldn't, give any labels. But
yeah,
this combination of so many different he writes poetry,
yeah, yeah,
right? So and still he manages to keep his privacy
uh-huh,
at the same time, So this kind of combination of so many different things in one person, that's what fascinates me. That's why I would like to figure out how he thinks and
yeah,
where it's coming from.
yeah, I would too. Yeah, that'd be great. So let me ask you this. So you're in the business of helping people. That's the cornerstone of what you do, but you also have to take care of yourself. You have to grow and evolve as a human being. What is that motivation for you every day to kind of get all of that accomplished and to do it in a way that makes you self-actualized?
Oh, right. So, to be honest, to see transformation you can bring to other people is already motivational enough. Hardly you will need any other motivation. Again, because after what I went through, this is exactly what drives me. Human beings, making them better, empowering them, discovering something that they don't know they are. That is fascinating because we think that we are such and such person, but we don't know that deep inside we are much better. That what even we think about ourselves. So discovering this goodness and empowering people, bringing them confidence that comes from nowhere, so they can be who they are, who they're meant to be. Oh my God, that's mind blowing,
Yeah,
right? We really don't need any more motivations. With regards to self actualization, this is self actualization. Actually, it's already moves to the next level of existential needs. It's not only about you, it's about what you bring to other people, right? It's the highest level of needs. Because I guess, yeah, self actualization, I have already passed through its stages because of the transformational period. And I love learning. I just not particularly motivated to exercise, but
right.
apart from this kind of let's not talk about it.
Yeah,
The rest is taken care of.
yeah. Well, before I ask you the next question, you were talking about just, uh, waking up that inner part of us. And I keep thinking, I always think one of my favorite quotes of all time is from the poet Charles Bukowski.
Yeah,
And
tell me.
two of them, what means the most is how well you walk through the fire. And B, we're born geniuses and buried idiots. And there's a part of us as we get older with what you're doing is that, kids are these just kind of feral cerebral beings and they just kind of go for it and truth comes out of them. But as we get older, all these fences just get built up around us, you know?
Yeah,
So
definitely. Yeah.
so let me ask you this. What has been one of your favorite pieces of advice that you've gotten that's resonated throughout your life that's fueled you?
You know what? It's also going to be a quote, and I can't attribute it to anybody because several times I was trying to get information who said it first, couldn't find any information. Everybody says different person. Well, I've given up. But it sounds like be who you are and say what you feel, because those who matter don't mind, and those who mind don't matter.
Yeah. Yeah. That's interesting. I was just thinking about you remember that movie Bird Box?
No, I'm
You
not in movies. No,
okay,
no.
okay. Well, it's an author and his name is Josh Mallerman and he wrote he wrote the book that was based on a movie. It's like the number one watch movie on Netflix called Bird Box.
All right. Okay.
Eh,
I don't
eh,
have Netflix.
okay, all right. Well,
I'm
it's
hopeless.
fine. It's totally fine. So he's a really cool cat, very, very artistically inclined. And we were interviewed like right after the book came out, before this movie came out. And he went to the premiere, and Julia Roberts is there, and all these people are there, and he's freaked out, totally freaked out. And at one moment, he pulled himself together and said, "You know what? We're all freaks." And it totally calmed him down. It's just like you said, if you speak something that is true, those around you are going to totally get it. And if they don't get it, you probably don't want to be around them.
Exactly. It's exactly that. Yeah.
You just weed it out.
I would probably disagree with all freaks. I would say that we inside we're all good people, or we're
Yeah,
similar, we're human beings.
right.
Right.
Yeah. I don't mean that in a bad way. I
Yeah.
mean more in like a
Right.
creative way.
Right.
Just the
Okay. Yeah.
idea of
We're
just
all the same. We're all the same.
exactly just being in that whole creative realm that like, it's okay to be who you are. That's kind of the idea,
Yeah.
and yeah, just to kind of roam the way you need to. So let me ask you this. Of all of the clients that you've helped, what's been one of your favorite client success stories?
The favorite success stories, they are about people discovering what it means to be free. People coming with a lot of perceptions, preconceived ideas about who they are, and according to that, how they meant to behave. And then through the process, when you kind of peel off everything that doesn't serve, you discover amazing, capable individuals. And that seeing, something that they didn't see in themselves. And that is incredible, you
Yeah,
know, because when they shine, and you can see then, when you get in contact with them, when they shine, the world around them changes,
yeah.
because change starts with ourselves, right? You
Mhm.
can't change anybody else apart from changing yourself, in all fairness. But when you change yourself, people you work with, like, because I work with leaders, you can see like a ripple effect of what the change was,
Yeah,
because the atmosphere changes, relationship and family change, the way they approach business, that seeing that all that was inside of them, they just didn't know.
yeah.
It's just a matter of uncovering it and freeing, because I'm all about freedom. Oh my God, that priceless.
So let me ask you this. If you have a dream tonight, run into the 20-year-old version of you, and you could give that young version of you a piece of advice based on the life you've lived, the wisdom you've gained, what advice would you impart on that young version of you?
There are two answers. There's only one advice and two answers. So the first answer, I would say that I wouldn't give any advice because it's useless. People don't listen to advice. It's
Right.
waste of their time unless they make their own mistakes. It's a road to nowhere. But if we stop trying being philosophical, so then I would say learn psychology. Learn it is when you still at school. Try to understand people. Understand yourself first and foremost before it's too late. It's never too late, but sometimes you have quite a lot of time wasted,
Yeah.
right? You make bad decisions. You choose wrong partners, not because they're wrong people, but because you don't know yourself. And this really gonna help if we had this opportunity to learn better psychology, more about psychology
Yeah.
since we were younger. It would have helped, I guess, in many cases.
Yeah. I think that was the subject that clicked the light bulb off for me whenever I started getting into school and into higher levels. It's fascinating. So let's say we get off this call and a time machine pulls up in front of your house and you can go anywhere in time and see one event in human history. Witness one thing with your own eyes. Where are you going?
Hmm. You know what? It's I haven't seen Rammstein yet. I
Okay.
want to go and see Rammstein.
There you go. See, I was going to weave in the music thing. That was the way, that was the direction I was going to go. So that's perfect. So of all of the things that you've done, become, achieved, and overcome in your life, what are you the proudest of?
I didn't let myself slip. I chose at some point of time, I chose a path of destruction, self-destruction. And because of the transformation I went through, basically I stopped myself because I knew something is wrong and I'm not in the right path. So let me try to drastically change something. Again, I thought that if I change the environment, silly me, right, the whole thing's going to change around me. No, it doesn't happen. I had to change myself. But the fact that I didn't allow myself slip, that something that I'm proud of.
So at the end of the day, everyone has a perception of you, family, friends, clients, but you run the show. What's your perception of you? Who do you think you are?
It's another very good question. I prefer not to put any labels on myself
Sure.
because every word, as funny as it sounds, is going to have a meaning, and every person going to read this meaning differently. So if I say that I'm a woman, immediately you're going to have a certain perception in your head what woman means. So if I say I'm a coach, you're going to have a perception of you in your head. I'm a good person, you're going to have your perception of good person. I'm going to have my perception of good person, right? So really it's a road nowhere because I don't know what you're thinking of. So at some point, and also because again, because I don't have identity, after we got dissolved, I haven't built a new one and I'm not really keen on building it. So I would use, I guess it's a biblical sentence. I'm not sure, but I am that I am.
Yeah.
It's a little bit hype, I
Right.
guess. Many people talk about it, but this is how I would define myself.
Okay. Yeah. So if anyone out there wants to hire you, dig into your world, reach out, what's the good business?
Well, it's to go on my website, to find me on LinkedIn. Yeah. So just get in contact because I enjoy meeting new people, and if one of you wanna try to experience effortlessness, you know, please, book a meeting and we'll see, if there anything that I can advise or suggest. It's a gift.
Excellent. Erin, this has been wonderful. Thank you so much. Hopefully it was a good experience. I appreciate it.
It was
You
fun.
were
Thanks for curveballs.
yeah, no, you're a pro. Yeah.